Unit 28, Athlete's Lifestyle Assignment 2, um, television interviews. These include pre-game and post-game interviews. These are both improvised and the player does not know what questions will be asked. Pre-game interviews happen when games are finished and and reporters talk to the coaches or the player of the game. They talk to the coaches of how their game plan worked and how it could improve on the next game. They will ask questions to the player of the game of how he was he was able to initiate his offense and defense to help his team win. Newspaper interviews. Newspaper interviews can be much easier than TV as the reporter may send you all the questions that will need to be answered. You could decline or accept it. There are some newspaper interviews that are just you and the reporter and he will ask you questions, so you'll need to you'll need to speak slowly and clearly enough for the reporter to accurately transcribe your response. You need to be friendly as well. If there is a question that you cannot answer, it is better to use "I cannot comment on that issue right now." If asked again, repeat the same sentence. It's appropriate to ask what the story is about and what type of comments they are looking for. They may have specific questions they want to explore. The person who I decided to analyze for the TV interview was Arsenal Wenger, and there are 5 things that stood out, which is appearance, language, which is verbal, language non-verbal, knowledge, and preparation. The reason being is that he ticks all the criteria that are needed to make a good interview and also some that he lacks on. His appearance during an interview is professional and shows a good look on the organization. He speaks in a professional manner and does not use slang. He is very honest when false information comes, responding with, "If it does not come from me, then it is false." His facial expression is obvious and of how he feels. You can easily see if Arsenal Wenger is angry, neutral, or happy just by his facial expression, hand movement, or how he talks. Every win or loss Mr. Wenger has encountered, he has been prepared what reporters will ask him and answer with confidence. He does not like when questions are repeated, as there was a press conference. He showed his anger towards the reporter. The next person I decided to analyze was LeBron James through his newspaper interview. From December 7th, 2015, the issue of the Sports Illustrated magazine. He was honest and friendly as possible during the interview. He was confident and remembered that he is an expert and represented the NBA and his team. He was prepared for most of the questions the reporter asked, and also he represented all his sponsors, the fans, and spoke very clearly towards the reporter. Personal delivery, he did do his own personal type of replies. He had time to answer them as well. Career. Importance of planning 2 career plans. If the player was to become badly injured, they are not left with nothing to go back to. Athlete will become bankrupt if they do not have a backup plan for their career. After they retire their sport, they will need to have other ways to make money, such as Shaquille O'Neal when he retired the NBA. He went into TV reporting. Goal setting and SWOT analysis. Goal setting is when you have a certain goal that you want to reach in a certain amount of time. Most goals are SMART. This stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time. SWOT is picking out strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Joshua's long-term goal is to improve on his defense, whether it's off-ball or on-ball defense. When off-ball defense, he will need to be aware of what the opponents are doing. So if an opponent was to pass, he should know where that pass is going and should intercept it. If not, if you cannot intercept it, go to that person and guard him tight. When an opponent has dribbled and picked up the ball, that's when you put much more defense on him, so he starts to freak out, starts to lose focus and possibly turn over the ball. When dribbling, he has to make it hard for his opponent to come towards the rim. Come towards the rim is one of the most crucial things in basketball, as the closer you get to the rim, the more easier it is for you to score. So Josh has to play defense to the point that he does not let his opponent come towards the basket. So you got the short-term goal, which him just improving his confidence and him running a team and to be more vocal. That's one of the weaknesses that I did say in the last couple of slides. Then the medium-term goal is him just getting used to this type of defense that he should be playing, because in the team that he's playing in college, he's our starting point guard and he's probably one of the best offensive players in the team, as he knows how to do everything. He knows when to shoot, he knows when to pass, he knows when to drive. But when it comes to defense, he slacks. The reason why of that, because the factors that I said before is that his defensive awareness is bad. His defense, when a player passes him, he gives up. He may run towards them, but at the same time, the defense there is that it is all right, but it can be better, because there's some players that play much better defense than Joshua, and that's why most of the times we'll play him, but there's days when it's like, yo, we're gonna keep you up for this amount of time because you're not playing as well on defense. Because in a basketball game, in any type of basketball game, and every coach has ever said to me or any other player, is that defense is the most important thing in basketball. Why? Because it creates offense. You can't create offense and then leave. No, it's gonna be a back and forth game. You play defense to win. You need to stop the other team. That's the main objective in basketball. You need to stop the other team from scoring in your basket, and you need to play better offense. That's why when you play defense, they get scared that, okay, what they got to do on offense, because they start to freak out. The long-term goal I've already explained. He just needs to improve off-ball and on-ball defense, defensive awareness, contest shots more often, and then hopefully he can get onto his starting five in his outside team. Smart targets are something that you set targets for, and it has a meaning to it. So SMART: S is specific, M is measurable, A is achievable, R is the relevance towards the target that you're setting for yourself, and the amount of time, the time that you are given. Now, with Joshua, I'll talk about it throughout this whole slide. With Joshua, specific, I'll say just to contest more shots. With this, it is measurable, because if he was to record all his games, he could go back to them, look at what he's doing wrong and what he's doing right. What he could do is that with improving his defense, is that you can see the amount of times players go past him and the amount of times he has kept players out of the paint and made them take ridiculous shots, making them miss, contest more shots, keeping them out the paint, make the opponent make hard shots. That's the type of target I want him to reach. Achievable, it is achievable. Josh is a very talented player in the college team, and as I heard, he's very good in his outside team as well. But with his defense, needs to improve dramatically. But it's very achievable in a small amount of time as well, and the reason why I say small amount of time is because I believe in him. It's achievable because it's just small things, like shuffling his feet more often, um, keep his body down, no jumping. Yeah, I mean it's better to keep your hands up when someone comes into the paint than jumping, because if you're keeping it up, they may miss, they may score. If you jump, you may get a foul, and fouls are very bad out. Yeah, very bad, because as soon as you get 5 fouls, if I was a coach, if my star player was to get 5 fouls within, I'll say, third quarter, he is not playing for the rest of the game, because I'm not risking him to get fouled out and then us losing. I'd rather him sit on the bench. Now, relevance. What? Relevant? Of course it's relevant. Defense is relevant to basketball at all times. Um, the what I'm setting him is relevant because just defense in general is important. Defense leads to offense. Offense doesn't lead to defense in basketball. Time, boy, I would give that. I would give Josh probably like 3 weeks, maybe less, because he could do it. I've seen him. I've played with him, so he can.